Wow, would you look at that? Only like the 6th pendulum deck in a row. Today I'm showing you guys my Draco Magician deck profile. I feel like I keep building on these pendulum decks and like dropping archetypes, adding archetypes. So long story short, if you've been following the channel for a while, I like Draco Pals. Draco Pal, the Pal part, not very good. Magician part, very good. Draco part, pretty good. Odd Eyes, whatever the new card is called, really good. We're going to go over this deck profile, Pendulum, Magician, Dragon, kind of plays similar to how Pendulums played about a year ago when we had Agripain and all that stuff, so let's get right into it. So, first off, we have Magician count. We have the double harmonizing, the single purple poison, the one black fang, and the one dragon pit. So this is a little bit of a bigger Pendulum Magician count than most other Pendulum decks are playing right now. I am also playing 40 cards, in case you guys were wondering. Typically they play something like this, where they just play one harmonizing, one purple, one black, one dragon pit, or maybe they cut the dragon pit and play like a second purple or a second black thing, whatever. I like playing the second harmonizing because harmonizing is very, very important. I wish I could play a bigger magician count because sometimes there's times where you just draw the purple poison and the black thing, although it's really low, and then you can't make your level 8 synchro play with harmonizing and go into Ignister, which is like the main card of the deck, which we'll get to later. Actually, let me just explain Ignister now because people commented on a previous video not knowing what this card did. Basically, what this card does, has a few effects, is once per turn you can special summon a Dracoslayer monster from your deck in defense position, but it can't be used for a synchro, which is a little bit annoying, but usually just link it away. And it's not a hard once per turn. And you can also spin a card on your opponent's field if you go second, so you can like bring this back with LB, or Pisty rather. And that's pretty much like the main card of the deck. It's like the most important part of the extra deck. So this just helps you get into that, helps you make other plays. Dragon Pit being a 7 helps you go into Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon plays. Magicians, really, really good. Then the Draco, so very, very slim Draco count. 1 Luster, 2 Master. It might sound kind of weird, because typically, you know, Luster is like the best one to play. But in this deck, it's really not that great. I really only use it because it is a level 4 tuner that can help go into Ignister if I can't get to harmonizing off of being summoned off of LP. Whereas the 2 vanillas here are scale 3s. And that actually helps a lot because it's a low scale. They're level 4s, they're vanillas. It actually came up a couple of times, as weird as this sounds, it being a vanilla being relevant. One time somebody tried to Widow Anchor it. You cannot Widow Anchor it because it's a vanilla. One time somebody tried to, like, they, what's that card called? The hand trap lets you gain life points, the Water Ghost Girl. Like, I summoned this and they try to use that. It was a normal summon and it's a normal monster, so you don't gain the life points. Really weird card. Really good, though, in a lot of weird ways, even though it doesn't have an effect. Then we have the 3 Proxy Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon. If you know what this card does, it has a few effects. The only effect we really care about is you discard it, pay 500 life points, and then add 1 level 8 or lower Pendulum Dragon monster from deck to hand. It has another cute Pendulum effect where you can scale it and then pop it, and then revive. I believe it's a Fusion, Synchro, or XYZ Dragon monster. I know it's definitely Synchro. I'm pretty sure it's Fusion or XYZ as well. The Synchro part doesn't come up a lot, but you can bring back Ignister with it, which is kind of cool. Typically off of this you get your Dark Worm. Dark Worm, when it's in grave and you have no monsters, you can special it. And when it's summoned, you search for your gate 0, which is just a scale 0, basically. Also level 7, which does come up because you can go into your rank 7 plays to get into Vortex Dragon for another negate. Speaking of rank 7 plays, we have the 1 Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon. Playing this just because it is a dark level 7 dragon scale 8. You can Allure Darkness it away. You can search it off of the Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, or Revolution Dragon, excuse me. And you can overlay it for rank 7, which is pretty nice. Then we also have the 1 Amorphage Sloth to summon off of LP, or whenever you need to, you can pen summon it, tribute summon it, whatever. You end on it a lot, it's pretty strong. 1 Galactic Spiral Dragon, this basically special summons itself from hand or grave if you have 2 light and or dark dragon monsters on the field, and then you can make all monsters you control level 8, so you just bring it back from grave, make a rank 8, go into either the Dingir, what is it called? The Orcust rank 8, I'm completely blanking on the name, Dingirsu I think, or you can go into Hope Harbinger, which is what I play. There have been times where I kind of wanted to play Dingirsu though, because it could protect stuff against card effect destruction, which is pretty good, but having Hope Harbinger for battle damage is still pretty good. Then we have the Endymion stuff, so we have 1 Servant, double Mighty Master, the 1 Jackal. So I am not playing the Magical Abductor. Magical Abductor is a great, great card, don't get me wrong. But the thing is with this variant of the deck is you're really not focused on spell counters, like, at all. Like, there's times where I was testing Abductor, I was testing 50 card variants, 60 card variants of this, I was testing 40 cards with Abductor, I was testing chronographs, and it just didn't get to a point where I was consistently getting enough spell counters to warrant playing all these cards that need spell counters. Whereas at least with Servant, it gets you to play through Nibiru, which is really strong, and it's a low skill, and it's searchable, and you get to play Spell Power Mastery to search it. And that's really the biggest reason why I want to play this, is because I want to take that Draco Pal deck that I had and just make it better and be able to play through Nibiru and put up more negates, and this is just does all of that pretty much. Bring out the Jackal King, get a monster negate, no Nibiru. Endymion is a level 7, you know, that's pretty much why. Not as impactful in this variant as it is in pure like spell counter Endymion variants, but it's still very, very strong. And we'll get more to the spell counter stuff in the extra deck when I talk about Selene and stuff like that. And then I'm playing one Jester Convict. Speaking of Selene, so this might sound weird. This is just a generic monster extender, and it makes Selene a lot better because I'm not playing Blue Boy, I'm not playing Abductor, I'm not playing Magician Souls, and I'm not playing Abductor to search the souls, or this, or Time Star for that matter. And what this does, you just special it, go for a Link 2, you have a Spellcaster Engrave, and it ensures Selene is live, so you can go into like Appaloosa or whatever, which is pretty nice. And then onto our spell cards, we have the Triple Duelist Alliance and the Double Pen Call. Duelist Alliance versus Pen Call. Duelist Alliance can search Luster, it can search the Odd Eyes, Scale 8. Very, very good card. Not much else to say. Might play 3 Pen Calls, honestly, because Pen Call is very, very important. Then we have the Triple Mastery to get our Endymion cards. Not much else to say there. And we have 1 Terraforming, 1 Sky Iris, and 1 Dragon Ravine. So Dragon Ravine, I do play Romulus as well in the extra deck, but you can still get it off Terraforming. Terraforming is just another spell card, basically, that you can activate. And you have 2 different options to get to it. So it could be your second Sky Iris, or it could be your way to get to Ravine if you want to go to it before going to Romulus. And yeah, Sky Iris is just really, really good because it helps you get into your Revolution Dragon. 1 Foolish. This has a few purposes, actually. So the most obvious one is to send the Supreme King Dragon Darkworm, so you can special it. You can also send the Endymion and then bring it back off Selene later, which is really cool. You can send Galactic Spiral Dragon too, and then bring it back later. So lots of versatility with that card. I love it. Then for a lot of draw cards, triple Lair of Darkness, double Pot of Desires, and the single Upstart Goblin to round out the 40 card deck. Desires is great, but the thing is with this deck is it's really reliant on the Magicians. And you don't play a huge Magician account just because, you know, space is a factor. I don't want to go over 40 cards, and I don't want to banish my Magicians because if I banish one of the 4s, it's really bad. If I banish the Dracoslayers, it could be a problem. So leave comments down below helping me improve this deck. That's a big reason why I like doing these deck profiles, because a lot of times people comment and say, hey, you could do this and the deck will be way better. And I'm like, you know what, you are right, I should try that. Anyway, onto the extra deck as my chair squeaks a lot there. The 1 Ignister, like honestly the best card in the extra deck. Brings out something from deck, spins cards, you can go into it so easily. I love this thing. Then we have Pisty. Pisty can arrive it from graveyard, not hard once per turn. So typically what you do, I'll show a combo at the end actually with Pen Call Darkworm. Typically what you do is you bring out the Ignister, bring out a dragon, and then you go into Appaloosa, and then with the dragon you go into Pisty, and then just bring back the Ignister and get another dragon out, which is pretty cool. Then we have LP. LP is not as important in this deck. You typically use it to go to Sloth, or use it in situations where you're stuck and you have to bring out either the Luster or bring out the rank 8 dragon, basically, whatever you need to do. Then we have the 1 Romulus. So Romulus is here to get rid of the guard dragons, really, because there's times where you want to just get rid of your dragons because the guard dragons lock you into only special summoning dragons. So you go to this, and you also get your Ravine. There's times where I would like go into this just to search for Ravine, and then go into IP to have something to discard off of IP. That's Romulus. I love this card. Very, very good. The 1 Titanic Galaxy for the rank 8 play. You play other rank 8s if you want. I just like that one the best. We have a couple of proxies here. We have Proxy Appaloosa. I actually drew the arrows on this one. And a Proxy IP. These cards are just so good. IP is like your generic rank 2, or link 2 I should say. And it's really easy to go into. You typically, like, all your plays in some way, shape, or form involve going to a link 2 and then pen summoning. IP is usually at link 2 unless you can't use your cross sheep. You go to cross sheep first to burn it, because then you can save the IP in the extra deck, because I'd rather have IP than cross sheep later on. Then Appaloosa, fantastic for guard dragon arrows, just always picking up with like 3 negates, really, really strong. 1 Boral Sword, you could play the new Code Talker card, whatever it's called, the 1 Transcode Talker, I believe, which is the other link for it. I don't know why I can't talk today. I like this one because it's a dragon for the guard dragons. And while testing, this actually helped more. But then again, you know, you can play the Code Talker if you really want to. Access Code Talker, I think is what it's called, right? I don't even know. 1 Cross Sheep, generic link 2 to help you go into your Absolute Vortex plays if you have it. honestly doesn't come up that much. It really only comes up if you have just a Confident Grave, or if you like pen call away a level 4 to bring it back. But you know, the fact that the deck just needs generic link 2s, might as well just play this for the chance that you go into your Odd Eyes plays, because it's gonna get linked away anyway, so you might as well play a link 2 that could at least like do something, rather than playing just like a beat cop, which just does nothing. 1 unicorn for the IP, really. Generic link 3. 2 proxy Selenians, because my order got canceled when I ordered them, and I'm still sad about that. Honestly, I don't go to this card a lot. I played, like, the past couple of days, I played a lot of Dueling Book, and I didn't summon it once. I did lose a lot. Fair warning, I did lose a lot. But I think that's more so me just not playing the deck effectively compared to the deck not being good. Honestly, I think there's a really strong argument to just putting this to 1. It's just not as needed in this variant. It is infinitely better in a pure Endymion spellcaster focus deck, because you go to like 2 every turn. But still a great card. I mean, the deck has a lot of extra deck space, so you can afford to play it. And you can also like cut stuff and play like Elder Entity Natis or whatever it's called, or Outer Entity Natis. Just to play around like the Dragon cards that send stuff from your extra deck to the grave. And then the last card is 1 Dweller. Just generic rank 4. I wanted to play Savage Dragon too, but I just felt like Dweller was just more versatile, maybe. I don't know. I mean, they're both good cards. If I had the space, maybe I'd play it, but we'll see. And then go over the side deck really, really quickly. I don't typically go over side decks, but I like going over Pendulum side decks, because Pendulum side decks are pretty unique. Triple Danko. I love this card. You just summon it, and your opponent's back row does nothing. Very cool. Wrestler, Dino Wrestler to pop stuff, and Red Reboot. This is like what I side against like back row decks, typically. If I'm going second, or even if I'm going first, actually, you could side these. Doesn't really matter. Not really a Red Reboot, but like if you side in Pangotrops going first, you could just like pen summon and then leave it there, and then just tribute on your opponent's turn if you really want to. That's why I really like Pangotrops and Pendulum decks, even though it's only at 1. And then I have, for some combo decks, I have the double Mystic Mine and the triple Sphere mode. My favorite thing about Pendulum is you can play Sphere mode, because your normal summon isn't that important. So that's pretty cool. You can just Sphere mode them and then OTK them or whatever. Mystic Mine is Mystic Mine, you know. Kind of degenerate, but it helps a lot in this deck. Then I have some weird cards here. So I have 1 Secret Village and 1 Amorphate's Lechery. So there's a new card called Forbidden Droplets. Very good card. These cards basically get around that because it means your opponent can't activate spells. So if you are in a position where you can get into secrets, or Secret Village I should say, you can activate it and then like leave Endymion on board. So you have a spellcaster and your opponent can't Droplets you or whatever. Transversely, Lechery, you can search this off of Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon. And it's a scale 5, which isn't the highest scale, but there's times where you only need to Pendulum summon 4s. So you can like search this, scale it, and then if you end on Sloth, basically what it means is your opponent is locked out of extra deck monsters. And since you have an Amorphage monster on board, Lechery's scale effect is your opponent can activate spell cards, except for Amorphage spell cards, which they probably aren't running. So that's pretty cool. And then I'm playing 2 Ghost Ogres and 1 Gamma Seal. So I couldn't find my 3rd Ghost Ogre because it's in another deck. And I kind of figured that, you know, Gamma Seal does a lot of the similar things that I would have wanted Ghost Ogre to do anyway. So I just threw this in. It's a card with a different name because obviously, you know, if you have 2 Ghost Ogres, you can use both in the same turn. Good for Numeron, good for stuff like that. Just my favorite hand trap, by the way, is Ghost Ogre, if you didn't know. And now let's go on to show you guys a quick combo. So the combo is actually going to start out pretty similar to the combo that I showed in my last my last Draco Pal deck profile, this being Draco Magicians. Basically, it's going to be Pen Call plus a way to get to Dark Worm plus any normal summonable Pendulum monster that can be Pendulum summoned. So it can't be harmonizing. There's a lot of ways to get to this. Thing with Pendulum, as I'm sure you guys know, is it's not like other combo decks where you have like very specific 2 cards that equal this board. You kind of play your whole hand, see what you get. Basically, what you need to do is get 2 monsters on board, a Link 2, and Scales, which kind of sounds like a lot, but Pendulums, you can do it. So there's a lot of ways to get to Pen Call Dark Worm. You play Revolution Dragon, you play a lot of draw cards, you play the Duelist Alliance. So make it as simple as possible. We're going to use Pen Call, discarding our Dark Worm, and we are going to get ourselves a Harmonizing Magician, and we're going to get ourselves a Black Fang as well, because we need a high skill. This could be Celestial Magician if you play it. I just don't have one. It doesn't really matter because their effects rarely come up. Dark Worm's going to special summon itself from grave. I like to put it here. It doesn't really matter because typically I go to Pisty, and Pisty's better to be over here. But again, it doesn't really matter because you get linked away anyway. Its effects going to activate, and we're going to get ourselves the Gate 0. Now what we're going to do is we're going to normal summon our any Pendulum monster that can be Pendulum summoned from the extra deck. Could be... Actually, it can't be Purple Poison because we would have had the Black Fang. But it could be like a lot of things. You know, if you have the Servant in Scale and you were able to summon it, that would work too. You just need 2 monsters basically. So we're going to link these 2 away. And we're going to summon any of our Link 2s. In this situation, I'm just going to go into Cross Sheet because we're not going to use this effect this turn. It's going to be cut off a little bit, but we have Cross Sheet right in the extra monster zone, so hopefully you can see that. I will scooch it down just a little bit. Hopefully that is all good. My hand is going to be over here because there's a glare right here, so I don't like putting cards here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to scale our scale. So we have the scale 0, I have the scale 8, and we're going to pen summon. So we're going to put Dark Worm in the Pisty zone, the other pendulum monster anywhere, and then we're going to summon Harmonizing. Harmonizing so actually going to activate, and we're going to get out Purple Poison. What you could also do, I guess, if you drew one of the magicians, one of the level 4 magicians, is instead of getting Black Fang, you could also get the level 7 vanilla one, Dragon Pulse, whatever it's called, Dragon Pit. Get that one if you want, doesn't really matter. Anyway, we're going to Synchro 8, Purple Poison will get banished, Harmonizing goes to the extra deck, and we're going to summon out Ignister Prominence. Ignister Prominence's effect is going to activate, and we're going to special summon a Dracoslayer monster from the extra deck. We'll bring out Luster. Doesn't really matter, but we'll bring out Luster this time. Actually, it's better to bring out Luster first because Luster gets linked away, but because Luster can only be used with Dracoslayer stuff, and you're going to link it away anyway, so it's fine. So anyway, from here, what we're going to do is we're going to link 4. So we're going to take our Servant, or any pendulum monster that we normal summoned, our Ignister, and our Cross Sheep to make an Appaloosa with 3 counters. So there we go, Appaloosa with the 3 counters. Let me just get a dice here. There we go. And then now from here, we're going to take the Dark Worm, going to link it, and we are going to summon out our Guard Dragon Pisty. Guard Dragon Pisty's effect is going to activate. Remember back our Ignister from the graveyard. Not hard once returned, of course. We're going to use this effect, summon out the Master from our deck. Now, from here, what we're going to do is we're going to link these two, the Pisty and the Ignister, and we're going to go into Dragoonity Knight Romulus. Romulus's effect is going to activate, and we're going to get ourselves the field spell, being the Dragon Ravine, just to get them out of the way, really, doesn't really matter. And then now here what we can do is we have a couple of options. So we can link the Luster Pendulum here, if we want to, and we can go into Alpi, and then Alpi can bring out Sloth to lock our opponent out of monster effects, or monsters from the extra deck, or what we can do instead is we can bring out Spiral Dragon, and then make a rank 8 play with the Master Pendulum to have 4 negates, 3 on the Appaloosa, 1 spell negate on the Hope Harbinger. Or what we can do, if we have another card in our hand with the Ravine, let's say we have any other card in our hand, what we can do is we can play the Ravine, discard our any card to send the Galactic Spiral Dragon. Galactic Spiral Dragon's effect from Grave can activate since we have 2 light or dark dragon monsters, being this being a light, this being a dark. We can special summon it. Then we can use this effect to make Master Pendulum an 8. We can overlay them into Hope Harbinger. I'll put it over here actually because Relinquish Anima or whatever, in defense mode. And then we can use Alpi's effect, and Alpi will bring out the Amorphage Sloth. So again, yeah, that was kind of like a 4-card combo, so to say, oh my god, 4-card combo is terrible. But in a Pendulum deck, it pretty much was get to a Link 2 and have a discard. That was pretty much what it is. There's so many ways to get to this. If you hard draw the Harmonizing, you don't have pen call, you can get to similar boards. If you resolve Servant's effect in the scale to bring it out, and then you have any normal summonable dragon, you can get to a very similar board. There's a lot of ways to get to things like this. If you hard draw the Endymion, what you could also do is you can pen summon the Endymion, Harmonizing, bring out the Dragon Pit, and then you can go for Vortex Blaze. There's a lot of ways in order for you to get into boards similar to this, which are going to be 3+ negates and a Sloth, or just like 4+ negates. You can get to 5 negates with this deck. It is pretty strong. Is it the best way to play Pendulums? I don't really know. I would definitely lean towards a more pure spell counter variant. I think that's probably a bit better, even without playing the Revolution Dragon. Like, Revolution Dragon is great, but I really think that Selene and the Endymion cards are just so freaking good that focusing on that might be better. We'll see. I'll probably explore that in the future. After the ban list comes out, after the Mega Hints come out, I'm going to do a lot of testing with a lot of decks. Gonna go back to Mermail, definitely, after taking like a month hiatus and focusing on Pendulum decks. Bring it back Mermail, do a September deck profile for that. Either way, I am rambling. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all next time, and bye-bye.